Hey, how you doing, Strat fans? It's Colonel Strat, the Strategy Extraordinaire here, and today we're gonna look at the final Warhammer 1 race. One of them that I think desperately needs a rework. It is the Norskins. Now, the Norskins have a very it's not a bad playstyle, but it's just one that really needs some work, in my opinion. Like here is we see Wolfric here. He he just doesn't have a lot of effects or faction effects, and the army is kind of bland that he starts with. Even the Marauder champions aren't the best, even though they have a solid armor value. It's still nothing compared to like dwarves or anything else, and their stats just don't really help them out. But him or Throg, or Throg has the most unique mechanics of the two, and they just need more lords. They need more fleshed out and all that stuff, and their campaign's not too good either. So we're going to dive right into a campaign to explain all that Norsca is about, and let you guys pillage and show you guys how to live your full Viking Warhammer fantasy.
I fear no champion. I only destroy them.
Alright, Wolfric, we'll see what you can do. So, the Norskins, they're kind of like a pseudo-horde. They raise settlements and raise monoliths to their gods, which are basically the gods of chaos. I believe the eagle is Zinch, the crow is Nurgle, the serpent is Slanesh, and the wolf, the hound, is Khorne. And it's basically just their primitive way of looking at it, and they do get some special things by dedicating to these gods, like you get an exalted Red Unclean One, and late Lawyer Change, a exalted Champion of Khorne, and I think it's a Chaos Sorcerer. There's special stuff that you get, and that was part of their rework, but they still aren't as good. They do monster hunts, and you defeat them in battle to return the unique powerful trophies, and then they do have the ability to settle, I believe, in non-port cities now. Yeah. So now we can actually make decently, like, before Norsca was like terrible. Now they're playable, but they still need some more flavor. Like, all this is just basic, so they just don't have anything unique about their buildings, but at least now you're not stuck to tier 1 like you were before. So, already went over their buildings, pretty basic. Attach this guy here, Wolfric. Their technology, pretty bare bones as well. Not a whole lot of different things going on, and it needs a rework badly. Now the monstrous Arcanum. You unlock a technology monster hunter, and then you can start hunting monsters and claiming them. That's a pretty cool concept for it, I have to say, but it still lacks certain things. Norsca also can only really do diplomacy with other Norscan factions. I don't think they can do anything else. They can engage in diplomacy, but anything other than Norsca is not going to really like you a lot. And I believe it's this one, and then you can start to recruit. You can go on monster hunts, and the more you dedicate to a god, the more bonuses you get. I usually go for the eagle when I'm playing Norsca, though I haven't played Norsca in a while. You do get a lot of these buffs, and they do stack. They're really good, but you can only fully dedicate to one god, I believe. And that's pretty much it for the campaign side of Norsca. It's pretty bare bones. Pretty similar across other factions. You won't see anything else unique other than the monster hunts. So let's go on into some army compositions. Alright, and here we are with a tier 1 army. So we basically start with just a few basic units, like Marauders with great weapons. I could do regular Marauders, because they aren't that much different, but they have the same armor, and just trading a shield for the armor piercing just isn't worth it in the early game, whereas these guys just have a lot more damage, and you're going to be really rushing as Norsca anyway. You're not going to be really on the defensive. And then we have some Marauder Hunters with javelins, which, that's their basic missile unit. Marauder horsemen, which are going to be actually, even though they are pretty weak, they're actually going to be very pivotal in the early game because you're going to be using them to harass enemy formations. Not really meant to do much damage, but just harass. We have a couple Norscan warhounds, and again are just meant to harass or to go around the back and get the archers. So I'm going to put them to the side, and then we have Wulfric, of course, leading the front, along with a Fimir Bale Fiend. Now the Fimir are unique to Norsca. They're these little creepy, like, crow-looking motherfuckers. They're really creepy looking. But he's got the Lore of Fire. He's he's also got Encouraged, magical attacks, sundering attacks. It's a really good hero to have for Norsca. You want to use whatever unique units you have for Norsca because they're so generic. Alright, so now we have our army set up. I'm just going to move these hunters more behind the line here. And let's go. So again, we're going to really just have our Marauder horsemen just harass the enemy here. Not really even doing much. And we're going to send the regular Marauders out with the javelins up there. And the Balefire guy will come over here. Let's send these guys down here. The Norscan Warhounds are going to be used just to, take care of the here.
We want their eyes. So be it. Chaos comes. Your will. Hear the sound of earth.
All right.
What do the gods desire? Move on them.
All right. Let's get these guys here.
Chaos.
Let's here go there. Alright, we're just gonna have our Norskins
Annihilation. So be it.
have our Norscan wolves go and deal with the back line here.
We serve the gods.
That's the thing, these guys are trash, so they're not really gonna do much other than just, help out with the trash. With, just harassing the enemy, not really doing much other than that.
Take it, Southerner!
Whereas, our mainline Norskins with great weapons, or our Marauders with great weapons, are going to do the big damage. Wulfric himself is also really good, but he's not as good as, say, Chaos Warriors, but he can be good. And Norsca is more aggressive. Even though they don't have as much stats as Chaos Warriors, they don't really go well with defensive formations. So it's really advised to go aggressive with Norsca. As you can see, we're routing them because we have a lot of harassment. Our javelins, our Marauder cavalry, they're just meant to harass, while the Marauders themselves are taking a bit of a hit. They do have a secret weapon, and that's Rage, which gives them physical resistance and leadership and attack. And it activates throughout the, it happens only, it's enabled if in melee with, with leadership higher than broken. So these guys are broken, or they break easily. So that's why it's not enabled for them. The other ones they could stack.
Chaos Marauders! Yes! Charge them! Charge them! Love them! Mortal fool! Love them! Honor the tribe! Ah! Chaos Marauders!
Let's just deal with these guys.
Get them!
Where's my other hounds? Oh, they're down here. Okay, let's go deal with those guys. Hounds.
We serve the gods! Wulfric
Alright,
the Wanderer.
Wulfric, deal with him. Wulfric is meant to deal with the enemy heroes because the Norskins themselves are not going to be powerful enough by themselves. See, we're losing a lot of guys. So, Norsca is not meant to, especially in the early game, you're going to be really looking, you're going to be hurting to find those, like, you know, decisive victories. I wonder if this is decisive. That's close. So, like I said, Norsca in the early game, they kind of struggle with getting those decisive victories because they don't have, like, the stopping power to really, you know, like the Empire. The Empire just has a lot more they have a lot more range, and they have stuff that's better, has better stats. But, you know, they can get in there and their rage can help them keep out. And if you have Wulfric, you have a big advantage. So, with that, let's go on to a Tier 2. Alright, here we are with a Tier 2. So for Tier 2, the Norskins really open up their arsenal, and they get more powerful and less susceptible to being crushed. This is when you really start to get some good units. You see here that we traded out our Marauders with great weapons with Marauder Berserkers. They have a really nice weapon strength. Yeah, that's Skin Wolves. They have a really nice base weapon strength. And then they have Berserk here, which starts it's like an insanity tick. It gives them 20% physical resist, and then it goes up to 20%, and then melee attack as well as rampage in stage 2. So it is vulnerable to rampage, but it still has 20% up to 20% physical resist, which is really good. They have frenzy, immune to psychology, and that damage and that melee attack is really, really good. And then they have a high morale as well. And then we also have their first monstrous infantry unit, Skin Wolves. Skin Wolves have regeneration, which allows them to regenerate passively. Strider, which allows them to pass. They don't have any terrain, any combat terrain debuffs. They have base physical resist of 20, and then they have frenzy as well as their stats being pretty good too. And then we've traded out our hunters, our javelins with regular Marauder hunters. Ups their missile strength, makes it armor piercing and sundering. So they're really, really good. And then we have Marauder Horsemasters, which are kind of less good, the Horsemasters are, but they have more armor, more missile attack, they can fire while moving, and they have rage this time, so they're a lot better. We also have a new champion, a Skin Wolf Werekin. Really, really good. Really good. It's got these special abilities, frenzy, regeneration, all of that stuff. Really, really good. Like high damage dealing hero. And we of course have Wulfric this time. He's on a steed. Yep, he's on a mount. And our Premier has some more spells. So, with that, we're going up against a Bretonnian force of mostly peasants and some Knights Errant. It will be a good test because they usually have the shielded ones out about the time you get Tier 2 stuff. Alrighty, so let's get into the battle. So we're going to move our guys up.
Now is our time! Get them!
Alright. Let's have the Chaos. Let's have the Marauder Hunters harass those guys.
Chaos good!
Alright, we're going to have Wulfric go for the Lord.
Ha! Chaos Marauders! Yes, Lord!
Don't skirmish.
The Dark Gods command me! Yes! Chaos Marauders! Now is our time! The Dark Gods command me! Marauder Horsemen!
Did the Skin Wolves go into? Yeah, they went into combat. Yeah, they caught us in combat. Sorry, I thought I heard my dogs. Alright, they're trying to catch us out in the open with these, or to get us in the flank with these guys, which is expected. But we got armor piercing on these guys, so they're really going to be able to help us.
Now is our time! Chaos Marauders!
And now let's activate
Consider
this.
it done!
We'll have his wind spell, which is really, really powerful. And then activate that, and this on the paladin.
Chaos!
Let's do the firestorm down. Let's see, down here. Yeah, that'll work. Skin Wolf should be tearing those guys up.
Chaos Marauders! What? Yes! My god's call! Charge! Chaos Marauders! Throw those axes! Your will? Blood!
Send the Skin Wolves into them.
Give us carnage! They will succumb! The Dark Gods command
Again,
me!
it's like, you just have to act crazy. Alright, who we lose? Well, we lost one of our Marauders with that, but both of them were routed
Dark
too,
Gods
so.
command me! Chaos Marauders! Your will? Throwing axes!
Let's throw these axes. Again, because it's throwing axes, it's not a lot of range, but you are able to really just pummel the enemy with just the sheer like damage, even though there's not a lot of range. You just got to get close.
They will succumb!
Yeah. Throw those axes, boys.
Your will! Yeah! Yeah!
Get the Skin Wolves up there.
So be it! Charge them! Very well!
There they go. That should be them routed. Now, I think that's a decisive. Yeah, that's a decisive. Because we start to have access to some more powerful units. Tier 3 is going to get even crazier. So let's move on to Tier 3 now. And now finally we're on Tier 3 with the big boys here. So, we've traded out our Norscan Marauders, or Berserkers, with Marauder Champions. Like I said before, having shields on Marauders is just not going to really suit their playstyle, so I usually just go for great weapons because the damage boost, because you're most likely going to be attacking. There's very little chance that you'll be defending as Norsca, and if you are, you're going to want to be aggressive anyway. So I don't use their shield variant because it just doesn't have as much of a hitting power, and I mean, I could use it to negate missile damage against a missile foe, and that could be something good to do. But like I said, it's not really worth it in the long run because you're going to do less damage with them when you get up into the melee, and you want to try to do as much damage as possible. Now, I have 6 of those guys, and in the back line I have Familiar Warriors, which are really, really good. They have armor sundering and magic attacks, armor piercing, bonus versus large. They also have this from the Mist, which gives them missile resist. Siege Attacker causes fear. They're really good. 110 armor, really, really good unit to have. I usually have a contingent of those guys. Of course, we got our Skin Wolf again. We also have some War Mammoths, a couple different types. So the vanilla War Mammoth here, with its armor on, and it has a contingent of 200 ammunition with a decent missile strength, and it's just like Norscans throwing spears. But then we also have the War Shrine. The War Shrine here, added with the Champions Chaos DLC, adds from the Mist. Wait, no, that's the Familiar Warriors. Okay, so it adds Favor of the Ruinous Powers and Giver of Glory, which gives you physical resist. So it was really good against physical attacking hordes. So those two, and then I've also picked up, because I usually dedicate to the Nurgle faction, I picked up Bill Spook, Blurple Smirk, Spook, I can never say his name right, but he's a great unclean one. Comes with all the spells, and he has just a regular great unclean one, exalted great unclean one. And then in the back we have some frost worms, because again I've done some monster hunting, and during this time of the campaign you should have done some monster hunting to unlock the frost worms, and then you can recruit them. So, with that is the army composition. We're going up against a more advanced Imperial army with some artillery. So we got to charge their lines and reach them fast. So let's go at 4th. Yep. Just go 4th there. The good thing about the war mammoths is that they don't need to stay back with the war shrine. They can go right for it, you know? Now, they have some armor piercing too, so we're just going to have to punch through as much as we can.
Yes, Lord.
The thing is, though, we have the frost worm. We're going to send Wolfric in, and our skin wolf, and our glorious spitters here. We're actually going to fly the frost worms back to do some damage there. Let's get a wind spell on this formation here. Let's blow them up. And then send him in to deal with them. Again, like I said, our mammoths are going to do really good, especially at disrupting the enemy missile line.
The Pox Lord.
Let's see. And then having the Norscan line doing that helps a lot too. Yeah. Now that we have monsters, you see just how powerful Norsca can be, because their elephants or their war mammoths are able to do a whole lot of stinking damage. Whole lot of damage just to regular units. We'll do his special ability. Let's do that. Him. Okay, let's do another breath attack on some of these returning units. Attack the high value ones. Right. Yeah. See how we destroyed this army very heavily, even though they had some top tier units. We still were able to take them out because, again, our war mammoths were the secret. And, you know, Norsca has a lot of physical resist, so they can go up against physical factions, which, again, they deal with a lot of physical damage factions. So it's easy for Norsca to mitigate that damage. Whereas if they went up against, like, high elves, they would crumble. You know, they struggle a lot. But we beat that army in 3 minutes. So that concludes our army compositions. So with that, Strat fans, I wish you luck in your Norscan campaigns. Again, not my favorite faction, but they have a lot of potential, and I hope that in the future with their rework that's going to come, that they're going to really shine. And they are a fun faction to play once you get through the early game slog. So I hope that you guys found this guide very enlightening and show you just how powerful Norsca can be when you utilize them properly. And I wish you best of luck in your Viking pillages and down with the Empire, burn the Order, destroy the world, and let's keep on wandering with Wolfric. So with that, without further ado, Strat fans, keep it strategic. Colonel out.